burgundy and black.
Commanders all day. I don't know what he's talking about. Commanders all day.
A big-time matchup. And fans of the visitors sure did travel. The game and drama did not disappoint. A back-and-forward affair that went down to the wire.
You know, we didn't make the plays and opportunities when they presented, so.
What to make of Sunday's setback against the Steelers?
I mean, it hurts, and you can see that it hurts guys in the locker room. So, main thing is like, man, these guys care.
And getting ready for the season home stretch on this Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus.
The man
Call somebody,
is back,
tell
y'all.
somebody. We're
He's
back.
back.
Call
He's
your
back.
mama, call your daddy.
We're back and we're back.
We're back.
Tony McGee,
We're back, y'all.
We're back. Tony
Hey.
McGee. Come on.
Tony McGee, Pro Football Plus. Tony McGee, Pro Football Plus. Tony McGee, Pro Football Plus. Tony McGee. What's up?
But don't think I'm happy, but welcome to Tony McGee Pro Football Plus. But what we have here is a learning lesson. Now, when we were back there playing in the day, when we were the Washington Redskins, we knew it would come a time that we had to grow up. And essentially last week, that's what really happened. The Washington team went against a team that hasn't scored a lot of points and played great defense, a team that they may meet in the playoffs if they get to the Super Bowl, a team that's coming on. Okay, a lot of people are disappointed now because, hey, they lost the game. So what? We like the summer rose. I told y'all. We need the sun and the rain. They know what's going to happen now. They know what they have to do, and it couldn't be working out any better than they have to play the number one opponent that they got this year, Eagles next. But let's digress and go back to this game last Sunday. Donna, everybody, and I brought in the crew, the old crew. Even I'm going to start with Leslie Shepard. You know, it took me 25 years to get him back on the show. Last time he came on the show for me, he was still playing. And I put, hey, Solomon, I hate to tell you this, but that card that came up missing, I had to hock it to get him on, okay, man? So I never told you that, but we got Leslie Shepard, one of the premier wide receivers. And when you talk about premier wide receivers, you talk about a cold man in a storm. He the only man can sweat up in the North Pole. And you talking about the G. What's up, G? You wide receiver. Now, before the show, I heard Donna was kind of dogging y'all, like y'all dropping and stuff. But I'll leave that to Donna Hopkins. Now, she's become our resident expert. All we wanted to do is get one of her stories right so we could go with it. But, you know, she always thinking this team. And I heard today, the defense, I don't want to hear it. And Solomon, you grew up with defense. You know Solomon McGee. The defense was not the reason they lost that game, except for the guy jumping off. But let's get this baby started right now. I'm going to start with you first, Solomon, because I've talked about the defensive line. That was a big play, and a lot of people are saying that cost the game. Yes, it did to a way, but when you're playing a playoff team, you're actually going to see all during the course of a game things that will really create problems for your team. So what you have to do is adjust. I have always been done. This has always been done in the NFL. When we had a rookie defensive lineman and you had a big play, make sure you go after him. And that's what they would do. And they did the whole head game. First, they act like they're going to call the timeout. Then they act like they were. Then they call one. What did he do? Jump right offside. Donna, had he not jumped offside, he might as well get ready for it. That's the kind of play they're going to get in the playoffs if they make it.
Hey, Tony, you're exactly right. But before I kind of like chime in and get you straight, because the defense did come down to the end, Tony, where they couldn't hold off the Pittsburgh Steelers. But let's go here. I know we normally go to the offense, but since you're talking about that one play, let's hear from Johnny Newton, who's feeling pretty bad about that play. But it was one play, Tony. It didn't cost the game.
I just got to take responsibility, be more mature. In the moment, you know, I was just ready to get off the ball, but take full responsibility and just got to hold my water in times like that. I knew what the play was. It's really hard, honestly, but I should have known it was coming. It happened all game, so I should know in that moment that it was going to happen, but just next time.
What I think took place, we just got to get off the field. Simple as that. We just got to get off the field, make plays on third down, and get off on fourth.
We fought hard. We left some plays out there, and we just got to make them. I mean, that's what it comes down to. They made more plays than we did, and they was able to pull out the win. This is part of the game. I mean, when you lose a game like this, sometimes it's a blessing to have that Thursday game because you don't have to wait as long to get back on the field and right some of those wrongs. And so, understand where we were at, understand that the things that we're doing we can fix, and it's on us to fix them.
Then we just got to finish the game out. We had some opportunities. Just got to show up. I mean, everybody hurt, man. It's a loss. They don't feel good, but just trying to keep this thing rolling, man, and like I said, just moving on to Philly.
For us, young, hungry team, it's a new group. We have no idea what the future holds. So for us to come out against a team like the Steelers, play a tough game, and not come out on top, everybody in this room can't wait for Thursday. And to have a short week to come out and reprove yourself, it's the best feeling in the world.
Hey, Tony, one thing that I wanted to kind of like point out also is that the Commanders gave up 140 yards in that game. Couldn't stop the run. And when you're looking at a Philadelphia team that they have to face another great runner in Saquon Barkley that they have to focus on too. So to me, looking at, the whole picture, the big picture moving forward, the divisional game against the Eagles and what they have to do to clean up in facing the Eagles. But one thing is they've got to clean up stopping the run. And then on the other end for the Commanders, their offense did not run the ball 60 yards. No Brian Robinson. They're hoping to have him back. They had two offensive linemen, starting linemen that were down. Hopefully they'll be back in the Eagles game. But if not, Trent Scott started his first game. And then Cornelius Lucas, he was out. Hopefully they'll have him back. But Brian Robinson, to have him back is going to be key also. But lastly, Shepard agreed with me, Tony, as far as it wasn't so much the wide receiver dropping balls in the end zone, key plays, and so forth. But he believes, Tony, that it was the defense that it came down to. I'm just saying, I'm just.
Why are you saying we didn't ask you?
hey, lastly, I just called out the
we didn't ask you to say nothing. We let you say something. Hey, back yourself up, man. You gonna let her put you out there like that?
I'm not blaming the whole defense because honestly, the identity of the team is the offense. But that play in that situation, you got to understand. You got to hold your border. That's what you practice for. That's what you prepare for. Just like a receiver not getting a first down depth or not getting his feet down on the touchdown, quarterback not throwing the ball in the 2-point conversion, certain things that just can't happen. And I just thought that was unacceptable for him to jump off as quick as he did. It was on the first sound. It wasn't a second sound. It wasn't a hard count. I mean, you got to hold your water a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you know what? He knew, and that was the bad thing. He, a young player. I know because I've done it myself.
Yeah,
young player, opportunity to go home and say, hey, boys, did y'all see me break that stuff down? I knew what it was. So he got all up on the ball. He was looking like you could see his ears were all pent back like he was running track. I said, uh-oh, they got one. And what do? You call a timeout, and that makes it even worse. So with that being said, though, let's go back to that tight end. Hey, G, did he catch the ball? Did he get enough yardage?
No, he didn't get enough yardage. That's for sure. And one thing is fourth down. You have to get the first down. Anytime you have that, you go 2 yards past the yard marker to get the first down. It's just what it is. Everybody knows that. You know this since you played high school sports.
Right.
Fourth down, you got to get enough yards to get the first down. It's just what it is. Especially when you're running a button hook in the middle of the field, because you could typically go get tackled right away after that. Right. This is what it is. You're in the middle of two people, you're going to get tackled. It's not like he was running a crossing pattern where he had a chance to try to escape and run for extra yardage. He's running a button hook. Button hook, I need 10 yards, I go 12. I need 12, I go 14. I need 14, I go 16. That's the part that just, he's not the reason why they lost the game, but he's a factor why they lost the game. He took the hope away. at the end of the day.
Even major.
I mean, it's just yeah. I mean, that's just something that, as a receiver, we just all know. Like me and this is something you don't do. I mean, maybe you do it in youth league,
Right.
and you get screamed out by your coaches, and you never do it again. But you don't do it at that level, making that kind of money. You don't do that anymore. You just don't.
Well, now, see, you disqualified me when you said making that kind of money, because we didn't make that kind of money. We dreamed of it.
You just don't do it no matter what. I mean,
we were the kind of dudes. I came from Bishop College. Now, all we did was hitchhike rides down there. Man, Chicago Bears messed around and gave me $17,000, and I bought a $10,000 car. So you see how stupid we could be. But with that being said, you look at this in the same kind of receiver, Solomon, same kind of defensive line is coming up with this week's game. Maybe even tougher for the simple aspect. The Eagles have been troubling somewhat, but you started to see them come alive the last couple of games. You played against a very good team. That's why you don't hear me lamenting that it was so bad they lost that game. That was a playoff team. The team they're playing now is a team that they are playoffs, but you need to serve them notice. Am I right, Solomon?
Well, this is the part of the season where it's the meat of the season. So now it's time to just get and dive into it. Back to back. So you just played, and now you have to really get over it and move on to a very good defensive team with actually now the difference between this team that we're playing is Tomlin brings a lot to the table where I feel like we do have a better coach than far as DQ far than Sirianni. But we got to turn around and back to back and get ready. And we have 3 to 4 days to prepare, because you guys usually have to travel and leave on a Wednesday to get there. So you really have 2 days here to get it together. So they have to really forget about it fast and move on to the next one.
And Donna, you know better than anybody. When you hear them talking in the locker room, do you get that feeling that they're ready for this opportunity? Do you get that feeling they've had the corner and say right now, a good part of this, they become an average team or a must-wanna-be team?
Yeah, Tony, I think what I liked about after that Pittsburgh game is that this team was really angry and upset. It wasn't like Gary talked last year about coming off the fields, people laughing, signing autographs, high-fiving and whatever. None of that. You could tell that this stung and this team was mad. I mean, when I was talking to the players in the locker room, they were like on to Philadelphia because we want to get rid of this bad taste. And I know that the coaches are going to have them ready to face the Philadelphia Eagles, because all season long that they have this team focused on the big prize moving forward and not looking back. You got a quarterback that was furious about just, looking at this game and, the brotherhood and so forth that they talked about over and over. So even like Solomon said, they've got 2 days, just like Philadelphia. Only difference is the Philadelphia Eagles are coming off a win after they beat up the wounded Cowboys. But the key thing, Tony, is that let's go look at the offense and look at what they had to say about that game, and then moving on to the Eagles and what they think that they have to do in order to get back, because this is tight. The Philadelphia Eagles are 7-2 with the Commanders losing to the Steelers. So if they win this game, the Commanders could end up being tied with the Eagles and on top because the divisional wins and everything. But this is so key, Tony, a divisional game that you're talking about must wins. This is a must win, but let's go to the locker room first to hear about the offense and then putting that game with the Steelers to bed, because they got a big one coming up themselves.
That's not how we wanted to finish that game. We had our opportunities, especially offensively, but you got to give credit to them. They finished the game better than we did. When they had to make a play, they did. And so we don't have too long to really think about this one. DQ's talking about just having a 24-hour rule. We're obviously going to look at it tomorrow and get some corrections, but going into another tough game against Philly on the road on a short week, so we just got to be ready for that. I think it really kind of came down to, because they made some mistakes too, like both sides, I feel like, made mistakes. I think it came down to us not really making the plays when we had to. You know, there was moments where we had a chance to get the first down or keep the sticks moving or, you know, get them off the field, and we just didn't quite do that. And like I said, you got to give credit to them because they made us earn everything, you know what I mean? And we knew this game was going to come down to 4 quarters. And just like this game coming up is going to come down to 4 quarters. So we just got to find a way to finish better.
I think at times it was execution on all phases. If it's O-line, stuff like that, you know, we had some flags that kind of held us back at times. Making sure that we're disciplined in those areas is vital, especially in those key moments. Very competitive game, 60 minutes. I expect nothing less from, you know, Coach Tomlin's team, and usually it comes down to execution. And, I think in those winning moments, we had a few chances to kind of put them away, and we just – in those moments, got to execute at a high level so we can finish.
And he's exactly right. When you have a chance to put an NFL team away, you put them away then. Now you have another team coming up with aspirations of going back to the glory days where the coach has been there a long time, and you have a coach that's been good for a long time. So coming up, it couldn't work out any better, and we'll talk about that in the next segment. I would love to have lost that game and have an opportunity to go out 3 days later and lay my foot where it needs to be. We'll be back in a moment.
People don't know the real story of what happened.
It was an unbelievable series of events and an unbelievable time.
Their championship was taken away from them in 1969. We are living in their championship now.
50-some years later, good is coming from it. They are impacting state after state after state after state.
And we're going to show the world how to love.
Well, you know, you were talking about it, and I was where I'm going to lay my foot and everything, but I cleaned it off during the halftime, and I'll be a little better right now. But one thing I do know, Big Zoe, they got a team coming in here that was one of the best in the world for a long time. And one thing that was said in the prior possession we had of this show was 140 yards by a team that's not as good as this Eagles team. This Eagles team got Barkley, and they can run the ball, and their defense is coming back, and their offense is running. Tell me what you think about this team, and what is the most important aspect on Thursday night this team needs to keep their eye on if they're going to try to have a win?
Well, the biggest thing is Saquon's going to get his. We just got to try to play discipline up front, but also the biggest thing coming on our side is we got Bree Robinson back. We had a total of 3 running backs that averaged 60. They had a total of 60 yards this last game. I feel like it's going to be a matchup between Saquon, like when Derrick Henry and B. Rob was going at each other. I think it's going to be a matchup between us having B. Rob run hard and Saquon running hard for them, and whoever could stop that back will actually be able to dominate and win the game. What do you think about that, Donna?
Hey, Solomon, I think you're right on, but you look, we're talking about the second half of the season. This Commanders team finished strong in the first half. None of us saw them finishing 7-2, 7-3 right now, but the importance of this team is right here in what they do in the second half. You think about, they've got divisional games to go. They've got Dallas twice, the Eagles twice. That's 4 games. That could be 4 possibly wins. And it doesn't matter about Dallas as far as their losing record. Man, did I say that? Dallas, everybody had them winning the division when it started. But it doesn't matter because it's divisional games. And then they play Tennessee, and then they play the Saints to finish out things. But lastly, second half of the season, when everything is on the line, looking at this Commanders team, how do you see them overall going into the second half of the season as a unit?
Well, I think we're in good shape. I think we're a well-coached team. I don't think we get too low when we lose. I don't think we get too high when we win. I think each week, gradually, we're getting better and better. The Eagles is a winnable game. We just got to play together as a team like we've been doing. I think the last game we played, we just made a lot of mental mistakes. I think those are correctable. Like a lot of the guys said in the locker room, they're looking forward to playing on Thursday and getting that bad taste out of their mouth. So I think we'll be fine. The Cowboys, please, that's 2 W's. Tennessee's not playing.
Oh, you say that with confidence.
Yeah, come on.
Said it real fast. Let's go.
I'm just saying, this year as a team, we have beat the teams that we should beat. So I don't see why we would take a back seat against Dallas. Everybody understands the division and trying to get pole position for this division to win out, and hopefully get home field advantage. But I don't see the Dallas Cowboys being a problem. Obviously, the Eagles are one of the best teams in the league, so that won't be an easy out. But if we can split with the Eagles, beat the Cowboys, I don't see us having any problem with Tennessee and the Saints.
And then you got the Falcons.
Well, Atlanta, that could be tricky. Depends on which Kirk Cousins show up. So you never know. But I think we'll be fine if we handle the Eagles. We have to at least split with the Eagles. And if we
got a little advantage with Atlanta.
I think we have advantage in Atlanta too because of defense. But
our head coach. Excuse me, I got a little something in my throat.
Do we play Atlanta at home or away?
Yeah, we play Atlanta. We play Atlanta here also.
But the head coach was down here for a while. And so he knows these players down here as well. And he's a very good coach. So I look at Washington has the chance to do something well there. I think they got to be more concerned with the people. And not that I'm a Dallas fan, but they just like any other dead dog, they'll rise up when they think you're going to give them a bone. So, we just got to make sure you take them out. Leslie, man, I ain't split nothing. If I get $1 million, I ain't giving you nothing.
Well, I'm just being realistic. The Eagles.
No.
Don't let him talk to you like
I'm just
that.
being realistic. Now, if we beat the Eagles twice, great. But I'm just saying that's a hard out. I still think we can split with them and still be fine for the division because we have more NFC wins than they do. So
let me get my stenographer out. Can you take that again and have him record that? Now, what did you say?
No.
Hey, Gary, I want to know what do you see? Because when you look at Jayden Daniels right now, headed into the second stretch of the things, he's probably really showed people about what caliber of quarterback he is. But as a young quarterback going into the second half of the season, hopefully, injuries don't happen and nag this team right now. Talk a little bit about Jayden Daniels as far as going into the second half of the season and what you've seen for him moving forward in this stretch.
Well, honestly, I think he'll continue to play the way he plays. All great athletes, they don't really pay attention if it's the start of the season, the mid of the season, the end of the season. Great athletes play great all the time. They really do. Don't get me wrong, they have off games like anybody does, but their confidence never fails. And I'm pretty sure that this young man is going to do what he's been doing for the entire season. He'll do it probably his entire career, quite honestly. Great players, that's what they do. They're not a one-shot pony. They don't do that. Great players play great. That's what they're meant to do. What concerns me most of all is our defense. Again, our defense concerns me. 2 games in a row, we let them come back and take the win. At the end of the day, we shouldn't have been in a situation where we had to drop down the field, quite honestly. We should not, at some point in time, it was up to 27-14 at one point. Come on now. We're not supposed to lose a game then. We're not supposed to lose a game at that time. And it's always the last drives, the teams tend to do well on their last drive where they need it. The last 2 weeks, teams needed those drives. We didn't have a chance to have a 50-yard pass into the end zone again. We should have had, because the receiver should have got the yardage that he needed for the first down, but we didn't get that chance. And from a defensive standpoint, everybody knew what the team was going to do. They were not going to go for that down. They're trying to get you to jump off sides. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew it. They're going to try to get you offside, because if they did stop them, we're at midfield. 2 first downs, and when we kick a field goal, we'd have them a minute left almost. Come on now. That was just bad performance all the way around, unfortunately. But you have those types of games. First to admit, I've had bad games myself, you know, but typically you hope somebody else picks you up so that the team wins still. I mean, they shouldn't have lost that football game. They just shouldn't have. There was no reason to lose that football game.
You admit that you have bad games? I played in over 200 games. I don't remember a bad one yet.
But I definitely did. I had a bad game against the 86 championship game against the Giants. I'll have nightmares about that to the day I die. You don't want to have a bad game in a championship game, and I did. So I mean,
and y'all know I'm just lying to you because I can remember some games right now. I feel like I still got cleat marks on the back of my jersey where they're running over me. So.
Hey Tony, I want to ask you something. Leslie, go on to jump in.
I was just going to piggyback what Gary said, but I think that Lattimore should help the defense.
Yes, I was going to holler out him.
Thank you, Shep. Thank you, Shep.
I don't know if he's healthy this week or not, but I think that was a good move on their part, and I think he's going to help solidify some of those holes we have.
Also, Donna, thank you for not interviewing St. Jude's this week. I'm going to just be honest. We keep talking about our young bull up front. We don't want to talk about the touchdown from a guy that just signed with the team last week. So I do feel like Mr. Shep said that Lattimore is going. I feel like they said they're going to put Mikey on one side and have Lattimore because St. Jude, he punishes us. And then I just see him on these interviews every week talking good at Donna, saying this and that. I'm like, nah, bro. So thank you for bringing up. Thank you for bringing up Lattimore, Shep.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that, with the hamstring injury, you have to be careful about how you bring about.
She's defending.
No. I'm just saying that Brian Robinson is nursing a hamstring injury also, but the Commanders want to make sure because Lattimore just recently tweaked his hamstring. So I'm not for sure. And last week, I don't think against the Steelers that they were going to basically put him in there. They were going to say him if he plays against the Eagles for that heavy hitter game and the stretch down. So it's a possibility that we may be able to see him this week against the Eagles, but hopefully if not, then the game after that, because he's going to be so key in shoring up that secondary a little bit more to add balance. But another guy that we haven't talked about, Jeremy Chin has played so well in these last three games. And also Dante Fowler, who had 4 sacks in his last 2 games. And then I think he had about 6 before. He's headed, Tony, you gotta love this, Tony. And the way he's played, he's headed towards possibly 14.5 sacks on the year.
And you know what the thing about it is? I watch him play because once he sticks out to you, and when you see a good defensive line, at first you don't come straight up. Second, you're doing your move on the same way projection that you're doing any other move. But third, you have good feet. Watch this young man's feet. He gets caught up into a pile of people. The next thing you watch, his feet are moving towards the quarterback. And I watched him. And Donna, I think he has 6 out of the last 6 games. And it hasn't been a person here since the Charles Mann and Dexter Manley that could do stuff like that. So I tell you what, he is going to be good. He will make mistakes, but he will one day be one of those linemen that we'll be talking about, one of the top ones probably in the game because he has a good motor, he gets off the ball well, and he plays low. He has a low center of gravity, and he knows what he's doing. That is what I'm liking about this new team, this new Washington team. At each position, you have guys that they can play pretty much the same way, but they don't play as well because you got some guys that's giving it all they can give, and some guys that's going out there collecting checks. We're starting to see now the guys that realize we can go to the playoffs. We can win it. But it's these weeks like this that they have to perform. They can't come in and just do like Donna and have half the information wrong. So she didn't do that.
Hey, Tony, I know one thing. He got 8.5 sacks on the year so far. So they definitely he's definitely coming in there. And the way he's coming in there, Tony, you might we don't want your black shoes back out there.
Wait a minute, whoa. That was the tie between the old and the young. They had a guy named Hopalong Cassidy. Hey, brother, back like Gail said. When I tell people I played with Gail Saris and Dick Bucket, they say, man, how old are you? When we come back, I may tell y'all how old I am. But you know what? I still can do a 40. I just need an hourglass to get it done. We'll be back in a minute.
I know that's right.
People don't know the real story of what happened.
It was an unbelievable series of events and an unbelievable time.
Their championship was taken away from them in 1969. We are living in their championship now.
50 some years later, good is coming from it. They are impacting state after state after state after state.
And we're going to show the world how to love.
Now we're going to take a little lunch break. We've been talking football all this time, and you guys have been looking at it, and more people asking me about this sports bar, restaurant, NFL challenge that we're doing. It is something we've been doing over the years. We're changing this year because we're allowing companies such as Kellogg's, who is a major brand cereal company, to be involved with it. And then we go back and get older people that we have had, Billy Baines and the guys out, they've been with us so long, and you start looking into different things. So what we're going to do is we're going to develop a second half team too, because we got 3 or 4 more individuals who want to get involved, and it probably would not be fair to let them get in now. But what we'll do is take a look at who's in first and second place now. Donna, last week, I think you was telling me that Glory Days were in number 1. Now, I remember Glory Days. Solomon, you remember Glory Days. We went and did shows out at their restaurants in Centerville, Woodbridge, Sterling, Virginia, and we still thinking about how good those chicken wings are. And I tell you what, not only that, they're picking pretty good this year.
Yeah, Tony, let me bring you up to speed as far as who's leading the pack and everything. And speaking of Glory Days, they're leading 10-1, Tony, on the year. And this week, Tony, I want to just shout out to them that they're going with, on Sunday night, the Lions. And on Monday night, they're going with the Dolphins. I don't even know why they picked the Dolphins on Monday night, but 10-1 record, who am I to question them? And then next up, Tony, is Crystal City Restaurant. Billy Baines, them. They're at 9-2. And this week, Tony, on Sunday night, they're picking the Lions. And then Monday night, they're picking the Dolphins too. But those two teams, individuals, are leading the pack. And then, Tony, we've got Simply Familiar, the Go-Go people, throwing down, Tony, at 6-1. They came in late, but this week, I can see why everybody is going with the Lions after what they did to the Texans, coming back after 5 turnovers. And Monday night, they're going for the Rams. And then, you know, Kellogg's and Crystal City Pubs, they're tied at 8-3, but everybody is still in this race. But Kellogg's, Tony, on Sunday night are going with the Lions. Monday night, the Rams. The Rams are coming on, so I can see why they're going with the Rams. And also Crystal City Pub, the Lions also. Monday night, the Rams, Tony.
Let me ask you, here's what I want to do next week, and I want to do it right in front of the fans. As we have these restaurants coming in, let's get their names up there so the fans can see where they're going and what they're doing, where their places are. Because you know what? It's very instrumental for these. And you fans know, we've had these individuals with us. It's not many television shows can say they've been on the air 40 years. And a lot of these individuals have been the individuals that the reason we are. So we want to make sure when you see them, we're not just pulling your leg or anything. We're talking good food. We're talking good fun. We're talking good people. So take a look at it, you know, and we're going to make some changes. It's not too late for some of you pigeons, good people to come in. It's not too late. We always leave a place in the nest.
Hey, Tony, you know what? That's just segues us in to looking at the second half of the season and where everybody is landing right now. And in the AFC, Tony, Buffalo Bills are going to be playing the Kansas City Chiefs this week. Nobody has knocked off the Chiefs at 9-0. They just seem to find a way. They block a field goal. They didn't even score many points, 16. They block a field goal and win the game. So the AFC East looks like this right now, Tony. Buffalo is at 8-2. Nobody else is in the conversation because the Jets are 3-7, Patriots is 3-7, and the Dolphins is at 2-6. So Tony, you always saying that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to have a hiccup sooner or later. Is this the week that Buffalo, they're playing in Buffalo, is this the week that they get the first L?
Oh, no question. No question. It's done deal. They got it last week, but that rabbit foot fell out of their pocket and you saved the game for them. I'm not saying they're not a good team, but as you can look at those two other pros you got up there and put one guy that went over in Europe and played basketball, we always know sooner or later that game, that week, or that player is going to come that make you want to say, I wish I was somewhere else. You know, when I used to play people like that, and that's what Buffalo is now. I remember when I had a big offensive lineman, it was tough. Man, if I whooped him, I say, I'm coming back. But if he whooped me, I say, how's the family? And that's what Buffalo's going to be doing. They're going and getting good players. They're slowing their big quarterback down. But let me ask you this. Where is that game being played, Donna?
In Buffalo, Tony.
You say no more.
All right. We got that. But lastly, I'm coming to you with the AFC North because it's a heavyweight boxing match getting ready to take place between the Pittsburgh Steelers, who's sitting on top of that division at 7-2. That game against the Commanders was huge for them. And then Baltimore barely skids past the Cincinnati Bengals in that. They should have lost that game. I don't even know how they won. But they're sitting at 7-3. How do you see this game playing out between two heavyweights? They're playing in Pittsburgh. Who gets that game, lastly, and why?
I think it's going to be a rock fight, but I'm going to give the edge to Pittsburgh at home. I think the Ravens are playing well. Lamar, to me, is one of the leading candidates for the MVP. But I think Pittsburgh is just a hard team to beat at home. And I think Russell Wilson, I think the fact that Mike Tomlinson made that switch when a lot of people thought it was the wrong decision has probably been the best decision, probably the best move in the NFL so far this year. I think Mike Tomlinson may be a head candidate for Coach of the Year just because of that move. So I give the edge to Pittsburgh just because of the coaching, just because of the way the defense is playing, and also the X factor in Russell Wilson.
Oh, they got that running game also. So that's going to be interesting too. So I want to also talk about the AFC South. Solomon, I'm coming to you in the AFC South. You got the Houston Texans that, you know, they ended up losing that game. Detroit turned the ball over 5 times, and they ended up still getting the win because the Texans didn't put them away. That game sounds familiar as far as the Commanders. So the Texans at 6-4, and the Colts are at 4-6. Talk about the Texans and that team right now, and as far as what they have to do, because, you know, they're a pretty good team.
They kind of do. They got to do kind of like we're going to have to do. They're going to have to recover fast and get ready for the next game. I feel like they got a good leader as far as D'Amico Ryans as a coach, and he's actually going to get them ready and knows how to get over the first game to get to the next game. So I feel like the Texans are going to be all right because they're still young like us. But just like the other day, that loss, you learn from losing, and then you get better, and then you get mature. So each loss is actually going to continue to make them better where they won't make those same mistakes again. So I got them actually getting the Colts.
Hey, Gary, I'm coming to you as far as the AFC West. We talked about the Kansas City Chiefs at 9-0. I mean, Tony believes that they're going to lose this week. But right now, the Chargers are basically in second place at 6-3. Have they surprised everybody? Everybody is not mentioning the Chargers, and they're just sitting there winning. What do you think about the Chargers? Maybe they don't win the division, but they're in the conversation of playoffs.
They're definitely in the conversation because quietly they're winning football games, 100%. I mean, I got San Diego winning this week as well. So, I mean, I wouldn't go to sleep on the Chargers. You know, the people that are quiet sometimes are the ones that create the most damage in the end. So it should be interesting to see what these guys do. I got them winning, though.
Hey, Tony, we got to take a quick break, and I'm going to bring you up because when we come back, we got to talk about the NFC East. Well,
okay,
the
but
NFC.
before we're going to take this break. When we come back, I saved this for a reason. I'm coming back to Solomon McGee because we have one more entity that's going to be part of our challenge. And what it's going to do is bring back the old days when the Washington Redskins, and the biggest sound around town was go-go. Solomon will explain it to you when we come back. We'll be back here in a minute if we pay the bill. So it's catch 22 in that. We'll be back.
People don't know the real story of what happened.
It was an unbelievable series of events and an unbelievable time.
Their championship was taken away from them in 1969. We are living in their championship now.
50 some years later, good is coming from it. They are impacting state after state after state after state.
And we're going to show the world how to love.
Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus Speakers Bureau offers you various opportunities to connect with former and current players along with Tony and the crew. For more information, go to redmagplus.com Speakers Bureau.
Next.
The benefits of it is just being powerful, more explosive, be able to hold your form a lot longer. This is really conditioning your hips. We're trying to work on his hips because he don't get his knees up. The more we're doing like this, you get him stronger, he can go longer. Just like that. Up, up, dorsiflex, dorsiflex, dorsiflex. Bam, power, push. Up. Don't pass me. There we go, toes up. Right angle, right? So if I'm locking this, like I put something right here, I can't move it. So if I'm going like that, now it has to be like that. Yeah. If I take this part off, then I'm gonna do this, right? I'm gonna be moving like that. I want to keep a part right here where it's glued in right here. So now I'm going like this. Here, power, power. I don't get power when I do this. I'm like this, I get power when I go right here. Here, I'm pushing. Fast. Fast. See how I'm getting faster, faster, faster. So he has 1 pound ankle weight on. It's going to simulate the hill that we usually do, which is twice as big as this right here.
Well, Ricky Urbans with another great piece. And I'm so glad that he didn't have me involved in this because it was outside running, getting in shape, getting the hips strong and everything. But a great piece for Ricky Urbans as far as to stay fit, to work on all parts of your body. So thank you, Ricky, for not putting me out there. But Solomon, we've got some familiar faces coming up to give us a little bit of entertainment.
Well, like she's saying, what we're going to be doing coming up is, first of all, she's new to the crank, so it's called Still Familiar. We know them, nice little go-go group here. We also got another bunch of go-go groups that's actually going to be interested where we're going to be having them do picks every week also to jump in on the picks with Kellogg's and also with the restaurants. Once they show and prove that they can win these picks, Pop said he's going to actually bring them on the show to be able to promote where they are actually performing that week and actually do a live piece on the show. So if you're into it, get in contact with us, especially if you're about that good crank life. That's 2 things DC's known for, mambo sauce and go-go. Let's get it.
All right, so mambo sauce. Oh, yeah. Hey, you know what? We went around the AFC. Now we've got to go around the NFC, well, the true division, or so forth. But Tony, I'm coming to you first because we talked a little bit about the Eagles and the Commanders. But as the home stretch, looking at these two teams, being that Dallas look like that they are dead in the waters at 3-6 right now, and then the Giants, they lose overseas. Maybe they should have stayed overseas at 3-6. But how do you see these two teams that are leading the division right now? Who's the better team? Break down each team for me as far as the Eagles. Hey, they calling me for an interview to be a GM. But Tony, talk to me about as far as these two teams, which one is stronger in the stretch? Break them down to me, the Commanders and the Eagles in the second half of the season.
First, I'm going to break down that with the United States fact channel. They're trying to make sure your facts are correct.
Oh, they was calling me to be the GM.
You made some mistakes on the show, Donna, so you'll be in handcuffs after the show if you don't straighten that up. But if we start looking at these people and you start looking at these different teams, yes, we said Dallas is through, but if you look, 3-6 is not through. You still got 8 games left. So, you can do a lot in 8 games. If you take a look at that, all we have to do is digress and look at Philadelphia last year. You look at Philadelphia right now, they're pulling themselves together. But at the same time, during the course of this year, something transpired on that team that changed the whole attitude at the end of last year and beginning of this year. They're just getting over it. Commanders right now are in the best position because they're learning what they can do. They're learning what they need to do, and they're learning how to do it. Now, they also are they understand they're not there yet, and they will be there if they continue to work. But they, out of all of them, got the best position. But at the same time, they could be the first to lose. Now you look at the Giants, still has a pretty good running game, not all the way out of it. No chance of probably winning it. But you wanted me to look at them. Okay, I'm looking at Commanders first, tied with Philadelphia, whoever win that game. And then I'm looking at you're going to have Dallas come alive. I hate to say that. And they mess around and do pretty well. And then you have the Giants. So really their division is tough. So right now I look at this game on Thursday will tell us a lot.
Hey, did Tony just say that the Dallas Cowboys will come alive? Come alive where? Yeah, Tony, but let's move on because I don't even want to give that much conversation. But let's move on. Solomon, I'm coming to you, the NFC North. The Detroit Lions, who just seem to be like the Kansas City Chiefs, win out of nowhere at 8-1. How do you see them? Minnesota Vikings with Kirk Cousins and that group are at 7-2. And then this is, to me, is one of the best divisions because you got the Green Bay Packers at 6-3. Chicago Bears, I thought that they were going to be in the conversation, but ever since the Commanders beat them, they fell apart at 4-5. So let's talk about the 3 top teams. The Detroit Lions, are they the best team in right there with Baltimore on that side in the NFL? Are they better than a Baltimore team at 8-1? How do you see this division between the Detroit Lions at 8-1, as far as the Minnesota Vikings at 7-2, and the Green Bay Packers that still need to be in the conversation?
First of all, I gotta say to my Detroit people, what up, though? 3-1-3. I got you. I got Detroit going going far because they have a great coach, and then they got what we call Knuckles and Sonic, which is a great running game. They got power and speed. Then I got Minnesota. They may. I mean, I just don't know. The quarterback's playing good, but you just don't know what you're gonna get. Green Bay, I feel like Love is all on Love's health. If he's healthy, they'll be all right. But if he's not, I just can't see him. But right now, I got Detroit is coming out as the leaders of the pack in that. And like I said, it's all going to be on the health of basically if Love can stay healthy. But Green Bay, I don't see them this year. But I got my people from 3-1-3, what up, though, coming out, Lions.
Hey, you know what? You kind of like Gary. I want to come to you as far as the NFC South. You got the Atlanta Falcons, to me, that 6-4. They started off strong, looked like they were running away with that division. And the New Orleans Saints, to me, they fired their coach, and then they win a game against the Falcons. But they're at 7-3, and the Bucs with Todd Bowles. What has happened to that team? They're at 4-6. Can they get back in the conversation? Talk to me about the Falcons and how do you see that division? Is the Falcons in safe territories, or is the Bucks still in the conversation? And also, is the Saints out?
I don't think the Bucks are in the conversation anymore. I just think, but you never do know. Hopefully, I'm wrong, but I don't think they're going to be in the conversation. Again, I agree with my man. Falcons depends on just how the quarterback is playing. If he's having a great day, they're extremely good. They're extremely good when he's having a good day. If he's having an off day, then they can be beat. But I never quite count the Saints out. I mean, it's New Orleans. You just never know what you're going to get. I mean, so for me, I'm going to flip a coin. I'm going to flip a coin to see who's going to be the team that we're
That's what Donna doing on her picks. She be acting like she be flipping a coin.
I never do that, Tony. I never do that. But I want to come to lastly. The NFC West is heating up because the Cardinals, they struggle out of the gates. Right now, they're sitting on top at 6-4, another close division also. And the San Francisco 49ers, I mean, they lose McCaffrey. He comes back the first time. He only had 39 yards, but they got their horse back. But that Achilles situation may still linger on. But right now, they're at 5-4. The Rams, who everybody had counted out, they're at 4-4. And so the Seattle, I think that they're done, but you never know. They're at 4-5. Talk to me about the Arizona Cardinals, who seem to me coming on and one of the better teams now that nobody is talking about. And then talk a little bit about the 49ers and how you see that race finishing up.
As far as the 49ers go, I think it's their division to lose. I think they've been a little bit beat up during the course of the year, obviously with McCaffrey being out, Debo being banged up, and losing Brandon Ayuk for the year. But they got the young man back. I don't really remember his name, the kid who got shot. He's been playing well. So I think their offense is starting to gel again. So I think it's their division to lose. LA Rams are playing good. The Chargers are playing well, but I just still think it's definitely their division to lose.
Okay, everybody, I want y'all to chime in as far as right now. If you're looking at the teams in the NFL, you got the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Detroit Lions, and the Kansas City Chiefs. 4 teams right there. If you had to pick between those 4 teams, who tops? Tony, I'm starting with you.
Ravens top, Detroit second.
Solomon, come to me.
Ravens, like my father, Detroit.
Hey, Gary, can you believe that they didn't even mention the Kansas City Chiefs just because they are not putting up a whole bunch of points? Gary, talk to me.
We know football. You know crayons.
Hey, all I know is they're 9-0. They're 9-0.
Hey, like y'all guys already know what I'm going to say. I never bet against KC and that quarterback. I just don't. I didn't last year. I didn't. I just don't.
Oh, gee, you still betting with Brady, and he been.
I was right with Brady. I'm right with the kid from Kansas City right now. I just didn't always be right.
Hey, Tony said about 3 weeks ago that Kansas City wasn't going to be undefeated, and they still. But who's your other team besides Kansas City?
In the AFC?
Yeah, between those 4 teams.
No, I don't have any other team.
Well, I guess Detroit Lions. But lastly, talk to me. Who are your teams?
Oh, if I'm gonna pick another team, I'll go ahead and go with the Commanders. We're gonna go that route.
Okay. Nobody even said that. I didn't even
put them in a category.
Commanders. I'm a homer. I go with the Commanders.
Yeah, I wonder
for not being homer. Shame on all 3 of you.
I'm reporting all of you all. I'm taking a
you didn't put them on the list.
Hey, lastly, talk to me. Lastly, who do you like?
In the NFC, I'm gonna go with Detroit just because I think they have a recipe for success with the running game, and solid defense they playing. They built for the playoffs in the long run. Also, they came up short last year, so they have a little hidden incentive to go out and win. So I like them coming out of the NFC. Obviously, playing against the Commanders in the championship, but I just like them winning. As far as the AFC concerned, I'll go with Kansas City because I think their defense is playing so well. People talk about how bad the offense is, but they got one of the best defenses in the league. And defense win championships. And if you got good defenses, that's why Patrick is winning without scoring a lot of points. And he's not going to continue to play bad. Trust me, he'll play well this week. He'll play well when he has to play well.
Hey, Tony, you know what? We got to take a break, so I don't have time to tell you who do I like. So when we come back, Tony, you'll have the last word to talk about who's leading our picks. Okay, let me just brush off my shoulder.
I wonder who. We'll be back in a moment.
In the Minute with Tony and Donna. You can catch them weekly on their podcast, and you could also subscribe to their YouTube channel, In the Minute.
People don't know the real story of what happened.
It was an unbelievable series of events and an unbelievable time.
Their championship was taken away from them in 1969. We are living in their championship now.
50 some years later, good is coming from it. They are impacting state after state after state after state.
And we're going to show the world how to love.
I want to thank my distinguished panel for being here. You guys did a great job. I finally had some people here to tell us what's happening. We also, you can take the looks at the picks. Donna's ahead because she got the pencil, but at the same time, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. And last but not least, as we always have told you, if they're not serving love at the table, you got to leave. So we never say goodbye. We say in the minute.